Today, we're plunging into something really current and crucial. The Zapad 2025 military exercise. We've got our hands on this incredible brief from Europe East today. It's dated September 14th, 2025. Details day 3 of Zapad window.
Right.
So our mission for you listening is really to peel back the layers. Figure out what's actually happening on the ground, behind the headlines.
Yeah.
And understand this whole intricate dance of deterrence, economy, even everyday life in the shadow of this exercise.
That's a lot to unpack.
It really is. So where do we even begin with something this complex?
Well, that's a good starting point. What's really fascinating here, I think, is that this brief, it's not just another general news report.
Okay.
It gives us this unique week in progress snapshot. It moves beyond those broad, sometimes vague statements to specific kind of actionable insights.
Right, more granular.
Exactly. And right from the lead story, you see this core paradox: quiet night, loud discipline. Yeah, that phrase, it seems contradictory, but it tells us quite a lot about how states are reacting. It suggests this isn't about, dramatic, overt confrontation.
No big fireworks.
Not yet, anyway. It's more about the quiet, consistent application of readiness and strategic communication.
Okay.
So the very absence of major incidents in this context, it actually speaks volumes about the preparedness in the region.
So quiet doesn't mean sleepy.
Not at all. It suggests a high state of alert rather than a lack of activity. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. That idea you mentioned from the brief, quiet skies aren't luck, they're logistics,
Yeah.
really hits that home.
Precisely.
It's almost this counterintuitive form of deterrent.
Yeah.
But okay, even with a quiet night, the brief talks about a tight mesh from bordering states.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean on the ground, security-wise?
Right, the tight mesh. It paints a picture of really intense, layered vigilance.
Layer how?
Well, the brief describes SECAPs, that's combat air patrols, being layered. So multiple aircraft patrolling different altitudes, different areas, plus QRA, quick reaction alert aircraft, on a short tether.
Short tether meaning?
Think of a sprinter, like coiled and ready, not quite off the blocks, but moments away, ready to scramble instantly.
Got it.
And they also mention Dusk EW drills, electronic warfare expected along the frontier.
Electronic warfare.
Yeah. And these aren't just one-off things. They're continuous interlocking operations designed to detect, deter, and respond almost instantaneously.
So it's not just showing up, it's this highly coordinated presence that never really sleeps.
Exactly. A constant state of readiness.
And what does the air picture tell us? From all these constant rotations, are these measures actually, working?
It looks like it. The air picture report from that morning confirms no new allied airspace breaches.
That's key.
And critically, that KPs and AWACS rotations are steady from Baltics to Black Sea. AWACS being those airborne warning and control system planes, basically flying command centers.
Right, the eyes in the sky.
Those steady rotations are absolutely critical. They're not just flying around randomly. They maintain this constant, visible, highly capable presence.
Okay.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the why it matters section, this is a prime example of deterrence by repetition.
Deterrence by repetition. Like the boring loop that works.
Exactly. That phrase from the brief. Think of it like a well-maintained machine. Its constant, almost unnoticeable hum is actually its most potent deterrent.
So the lack of drama is the story.
In a way, yes. It signals that any misstep would be met with an immediate pre-calculated response. It makes the cost of trying anything prohibitively high through sheer unwavering presence.
That's powerful, the silent hum of readiness. But okay, it's not all just planes in the sky, is it?
No, definitely not.
The brief then pivots to electronic warfare. It explicitly points out GNSS spoofing jamming is most likely at Dusk. How significant is that? And what are the actual real-world impacts when systems for aviation, for trucking, have to switch to these degraded mode SOPs?
Oh, it's a significant disruption. It's subtle, but pervasive. The insight there is that the navigation risk is cyclical.
Cyclical.
Yeah.
Sunset to late evening.
Exactly. That pattern means operators can anticipate it somewhat and mitigate. And the brief says pre-planned alternates save time for those affected.
Okay, but what are degraded mode SOPs? SOPs meaning standard operating procedures, right?
Right. Imagine you're a long-haul trucker on a tight schedule, or maybe a commercial pilot on approach. Suddenly, your GPS, your satellite navigation just goes out. Poof.
Okay, yeah, that's not good.
So now you're operating without your primary digital tools. You're falling back on older methods, maybe traditional radio navigation, visual cues, pre-calculated routes.
Wow.
It's like driving a brand new car, but having to suddenly navigate with a paper map and road signs again, maybe at highway speed.
So truck drivers might literally be using paper maps at 70 miles an hour. That's quite a thought.
It forces a return to fundamentals.
Yeah.
And that adds stress, adds time, adds risk.
But couldn't you argue? I mean, if this jamming is so cyclical, so predictable, doesn't it lose some of its punch? Doesn't it just become part of the new normal?
That's a really fair point. And it touches on the psychological side. Predictability allows for mitigation, sure.
Right.
But it also reinforces this constant state of low-level harassment, constant vigilance. It subtly shifts the baseline of what normal operations even feel like.
Yeah, I could see that.
And of course, while this is happening in the physical world, the electromagnetic world, there's also the info ops piece, information operations.
Right, the narrative battle.
Exactly. Essentially using information strategically to influence how people see things, how they behave. The brief notes, weekend narratives pushing NATO escalation resurface monitor for coordinated spikes.
So watching for propaganda pushes.
Yeah, it highlights this crucial information battle space running alongside the physical exercise. Narratives are actively being shaped. We're just observing this, reporting it as part of the operational environment.
Not endorsing it, just noting it's happening.
Precisely. It's a parallel layer of engagement.
It really paints a picture of a multi-front thing.
Yeah.
Physical, electronic, informational. But with that information battle space, how effective is it really? I mean, if the narratives seem obviously one-sided, doesn't that risk just turning people off?
That is the challenge, isn't it? Effectiveness isn't always about convincing everyone. Sometimes it's just about creating enough noise to muddy the waters. Yeah. Or just provide a ready-made framework for people already inclined to believe certain things. It's less about universal conversion, maybe more about shaping the environment for specific audiences.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which then brings us back to the more tangible responses. If EW is the invisible jab, what's the direct counterpunch from these bordering nations? The brief mentions immediate defensive moves, particularly counter-UAS.
Exactly. It specifies capitals finalize shortlists for early safe tranches. And safe seems to involve things like sensors, jammers, SHORAD, that's short-range air defense, right? And repair spares. It sounds really urgent, like a push for rapid deployment. What's driving that speed for drone defense?
This is where that principle of cached capability comes in. The SAFE initiative, whatever it is, likely some funding or procurement program, seems to be favoring shovel-ready counter-UAS programs.
Shovel-ready meaning?
Meaning ones they can implement fast. The brief literally says, paperwork speed equals advantage.
Wow, bureaucracy as a weapon.
Almost. It tells you bureaucratic efficiency is nearly as critical as the tech itself in this race to bolster defenses.
Okay, so break down those components. Sensors, jammers, SHORAD, spares, what do they do?
So sensors are for spotting the drones early. Think radar, cameras, acoustic detectors.
Find them.
Jammers mess with their control signals or GPS, forcing them down or making them fly off course.
Disrupt them.
SHORAD systems are the hard kill option missiles, guns physically shooting them down.
Destroy them.
And repair spares are crucial to keep all these systems running continuously. You need parts to fix things quickly. Together, it's a layered defense against drones.
Detect, disrupt, destroy. Makes sense.
And what to watch for here, the brief says, is the first public safe shortlists. That'll show us what these countries are prioritizing right now. Is it sensors, jammers, or the actual shooters, the SHORAD?
So it signals their immediate strategic focus.
Sir.
Detection, disruption, or destruction. Got it.
Yeah, it's a snapshot of their immediate threat assessment.
Okay, but these huge exercises, they inevitably spill over, don't they, into everyday life, the economy.
Oh, absolutely.
So beyond the military chess game, what does this mean for, the average person? The broader economy. The economy and energy section mentions PLN, HUF, RON currencies, Polish zloty, Hungarian forint, Romanian leu are broadly range-bound.
Stable-ish. Relatively stable, yeah.
But still influenced by Monday EU prints like economic data. More concretely, though, diesel premia near frontier corridors persist. Higher fuel costs near the border.
Right.
And some carriers are keeping a Zapad buffer in their price quotes. What's that about?
Ah, the Zapad buffer. That's a fascinating, very real-world example of how these exercises hit the economy. How so? It's more than just an added cost. It's like this tiny indicator of big-picture risk perception. Basically, logistics companies, trucking firms, they're pricing in the potential for delays.
Okay.
Delays, increased fuel costs, maybe from having to reroute, or just the higher perceived risk of operating near the exercise zone. It shows this subtle shift in how businesses actually price uncertainty itself.
Pricing the risk.
Exactly. Now, the currency stability being broadly range-bound suggests investors aren't seeing this as like a full-blown crisis destabilizing the region.
More like a known factor.
More like a contained, maybe recurring military exercise, part of the regional environment, perhaps. Which raises that question. How do these localized tensions filter into broader economic signals? And how quickly do markets just sort of discount them as business as usual?
Right.
And the what to watch confirms that link. Monday macro, Eurozone prints a rate path read-through for PLN Shit Efferon. It shows these regional currencies are still very much tied to the bigger European economic picture, even with local pressures.
It really is all about perception and calculated risk, isn't it? The cost of doing business in a, well, dynamic region.
Absolutely.
And speaking of calculations, let's talk mobility. Directly impacting people trying to get from A to B.
Yeah.
Plus 60, 120 minutes on road ETAs. Ouch. And rail intermodal absorbing overflow. So trains are picking up the slack.
Seems like it.
But then you see this striking contrast. Ukrainian corridors showing stable flow with periodic inspections. And notably, humanitarian lanes prioritized. Why such a big difference between
Belarus crossings, the time checks, the occasional closures that suggest maybe a higher level of operational security being imposed there?
or sending a message?
Or perhaps even a deliberate demonstration of control. Yeah. A way to show they can disrupt things during the exercise. It directly hits commercial traffic, private cars, pushes people onto rail, which creates its own bottlenecks.
Right.
In contrast, the stable flow and periodic inspections at the Ukraine corridors, especially with humanitarian lanes prioritized, that indicates a more, let's say, structured approach, perhaps internationally monitored even.
Okay.
That prioritization of humanitarian movement is a really critical detail. It signals a conscious effort, maybe. It appears so. It shows that while military readiness is high, they're making some distinction. And the note that airports, ops normal, NOTAM playbooks ready if mass raids resume.
NOTAMs being notices to air missions.
Right. That confirms the state of heightened preparedness. Contingency plans are ready, but without immediate disruption to air travel. They're looking ahead, planning for escalation scenarios.
It's a stark reminder, though, that even in an exercise, every decision has that civilian ripple effect.
Definitely.
But it also makes you wonder, how much of prioritizing humanitarian lanes is genuine concern, and how much is maybe strategic optics for the international audience?
That's always a difficult line to discern from the outside, isn't it? Motives can be mixed.
True. It's easy to get lost in the complexity here. This whole deep dive into Zapad 2025, it's really opened my eyes to how a quiet night doesn't mean nothing's happening.
Quite the opposite.
In fact, it means a tremendous amount is happening, tirelessly, just to maintain that quiet fact. We've touched on security readiness layers, those nuanced economic factors, the practical impacts on just moving around. So what's the core takeaway when we pull all these threads together?
I think the core message, the one that really resonates from the brief sign-off, is quiet skies aren't luck, they're logistics.
Yeah, that phrase again.
And complex systems humming away behind the scenes.
Right.
The stability, the lack of major incidents reported during Zapad 2025, at least up to this point in the brief, it's a direct result of these layered, repetitive, disciplined operations we've been talking about. This deep dive really reveals that true security, it often resides not in those big dramatic gestures, but in the sustained, almost mundane efficiency of just being prepared.
The boring loop that works.
Exactly. It kind of makes you consider, what unseen logistics might be maintaining the quiet in your own world, maybe without you even realizing it.
That's a thought.
So considering all this, the physical readiness, the EW, the info ops, here's something to mull over. How do you think this constant presence of information operations and electronic warfare noise might subtly reshape our understanding of what normal even means anymore, especially in our hyper-connected world where reality itself can feel like it's constantly being tested, maybe even manipulated?